This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by Mr. Al Siesta over Zoom. Al, firstly, how are you?
I'm very well, brother. Thank you. Long time no see.
It's
ID
been
Boxing.
it's been a long time indeed, Al. Obviously, just been a very busy man, as both of us have been, and these last few days in boxing have certainly been hectic to say the least. Now, Al, we was due to see a big fight tonight between Benn and Eubank Jr., which is no longer going ahead due to an adverse finding in one of Conor's VADA tests. Al, just take me back to when the news broke. What did you make of it when you heard it?
Honestly, as a boxing fan, avid boxing fan, I was very disappointed. I was really looking forward to it. This is God's honest truth. And things happened. And the situation is very, very complex. I browsed YouTube. I saw various opinions, and most of them are valid. But people disregard certain things. Very little of us, possibly nobody, have been in a similar situation when such an amount of money, publicity, and potential success and big span for the future was on the line. And I personally cannot guarantee for myself how I would react to that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? We're quick to judge, and British Boxing Board of Control made the correct decision. In my opinion, it took too long. If someone failed a drug test, it's an automatic suspension or at least automatic termination of the event. Instantly. I'm talking about the fight, not entire event. Termination of the fight. I do not understand why it took them so long to contemplate if there's any other options. They want any other options. The only option was to cancel the event. Sorry, the fight. In regards to the promoters, I've never been in this situation with such amount of money is on the line. And they put big finance into it. They were really excited. They put their heart and soul, I'm talking about Matchroom and Warzerman, in order to make it happen. In the beginning, when the fight was made, I felt that the fight was ridiculous because it was in breach of a weight class concept in boxing. Conor Benn is a fully fledged welterweight, and Chris Eubank, a middleweight that campaigned previously at super middleweight. But then I started to analyze the constitution of both. Conor Benn probably walks at around 12 stone in his normal life. And I'd say Chris Eubank, maybe 12 stone 6, because Chris is a slender build, is a slightly taller, quite thin legs, quite slim figure. And Conor is a bit of a broader guy. You do get the fighters in the same weight category, similarly built. So in terms of drasticness, yes, it is a drastic difference, but it suddenly became possible to have that fight. And I didn't feel that putting Chris Eubank under 157 pounds restraint is the right idea. If you think you can fight at middleweight, meet me at middleweight. Meet me at 160 pounds. Because if you think you're small and you're not big enough to campaign at my weight category, why are you asking me to fight you? So this is the initial reaction I had. And I was anti-fight, publicly, publicity-wise, and the history-wise. I was overwhelmed and very happy, but as a boxing professional, I felt that it's almost impossible. And if you're trying to fit a square peg into the round hole, which will come later to that, the consequences, Allah himself will not allow for that to happen, I always say, but that's a different story. We don't want to go on that religious philosophy. So, yes, I'm disappointed that the fight got cancelled, answering to your question.
Al, it came out soon after the news broke about Conor's VADA test that the test was done around the beginning of September, and then results came back around the 23rd of September. So for a couple of weeks before the fight night or scheduled fight night, the teams knew, the board knew, and it seemed to be the plan was for the show to go ahead. Do you believe if it wasn't for the article the Daily Mail produced, we would have found out about it?
My belief is too much money on the line. Both teams knew what's going on. Chris Eubank was extremely confident that he will beat Conor Benn under any circumstances. He was very confident. By the way, I am of a similar opinion. As much as I value and love Conor Benn, I think Chris Eubank is a slightly different level at this stage. So that's why he kept this meme going of 60%, because that's what he felt is enough genuinely to deal with Conor. And a lot of money on the line. Teams knew about the finding, and they were hoping, because everyone is in the consensus that the fight should go ahead, if that will stay quiet, they will quietly sneak in and get the event made, and then we'll deal with the consequences after. In terms of business, there's no justification for them to behave on this manner. But on a human level, none of us been there, as I've said, when tens of millions, potentially hundreds of millions in the revenue there, I don't know, I'm considering the future earning and the span that both had because of this event. So I am not justifying that, but it's understandable why they try to keep it quiet. It is very understandable. And boxing is infested with buddies. Let's face that. So there's no Mother Teresa figures in boxing. And when people got surprised about someone trying to keep this information out, or are we really surprised about boxing behavior and boxing professionals? I'm not, because it's an underground layer, boxing. And everyone, if they have advantage, they will try to take advantage financially, emotionally, because it's a gray area. But I do believe, if not that news that broke, how did it break through what, Daily Mail, you said?
The Daily Mail, yeah.
Definitely would have stayed quiet and it would have taken place. We will have numerous examples of the past, even with Matchroom. So Dillian White, I mean, at least, let me tell you, there's no consolation to that, but at least Eubank's team knew it. Oscar Rivas' team didn't even know it. You know?
Al, when you kind of consider where things have been left, I've seen some articles and reports coming out now that, and obviously until Conor can look to clear his name, he could potentially be facing a 4-year ban. Do you understand that, and do you expect that to kind of go ahead? Can you just talk to me about that side of things and what could be in line for Conor next?
I understand that very well. And I just want to say something as well. If you are a promoter of such a magnificent event, magnitude is incredible. It's born rivals and so on and so forth. You already made it happen. You already convinced the British Boxing Board of Control that the guys from different weight categories can somehow meet in the middle, which I said I was against of. They should meet at the higher point. If I'm a governing body, I wouldn't allow for someone to drain even harder to meet someone who is coming up. But anyway, this is your responsibility. This is the responsibility of your entire team, your training staff, the fighters involved in this fight are follow the protocols. They impeccably clean, and then you are all making to the ring on the 8th of October. This is your responsibility. This is an amateur mistake, recklessness for things that happened with Conor Benn to let them happen. In my opinion, I don't want to blame Conor. Listen, the demons in everyone. He going up to fight Chris Eubank. It's a massive task. He's a huge underdog. Whoever tells me the casuals, they don't understand the game. He is a big, big underdog. I was fancying a stoppage. In fact, I was fancying wave off to save Conor's career. The matchmaking of Conor Benn's career was very intelligent. As a matchmaker myself, I'll tell you, there's not a single puncher in every opponent of Conor Benn that he fought in his career. The only one puncher was there, the Cedric Pinu, which I brought for Conor Benn, and you saw what happened. He dealt with him in an appropriate manner on the second fight, but Conor is growing athlete. He's on the way up, and he was matched very intelligently. And then suddenly, not only he gets quite a punching, strong guy, he's also coming from a different weight category with a granny chin and a huge pedigree. People say it was a desperate move. Of course, it's a desperate move. Eddie needs to deliver for the network. His own situation, he needs to deliver for the network. Every fight he needs to deliver has to be pay-per-view. He needs to return his investments, of his own investments, of their personal investments. It's all understandable. If you are a boxing professional, there is a justification for making this fight, but there's no justification to not keeping your eye on what's going on behind the scenes if you want this fight to happen. And this is an amateur error for allowing your fighter to get caught on doping. If I would be knowing that something like this going on, and potentially the big tower called Eubank 3 will fall apart like this. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Recklessness. And in regards to the 4-year ban, I don't know how that substance get into Conor Benn. And if he's guilty, look, the adverse finding was found. I don't know. Is he guilty? Possibly. Is 4-year ban a fair measure? I've never seen in boxing so far such a long period of time being implemented on the ban. Some people been caught twice or 3 times. Jarrell Millers and various people. I heard that Conor Benn also failed a WBC clean boxer program. So it was a history of it. The question is, why is he taking the substances? I mean, obviously, probably to gain an advantage. Look, as a promoter manager, it's very hard for me to say because he is not my fighter. But again, I think possibly the people who let this happen probably need to be disciplined. I'm not sure about being banned, but need to be disciplined financially. This is a very hard topic. I don't want to be an asshole to judge anybody or give sentences out. But 4 years is a very, very long term, especially when you are an up-and-coming fighter and arguably coming to your best period. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he definitely needs to be punished, disciplined financially. His team needs to be punished. The promoter needs to be punished for the behavior that a reason around this conspiracy or this situation. But 4 years, it's a prison sentence, you know?
Oh, obviously boxing's a very dangerous sport when anybody steps in between the ropes. Given everything that's been spoken about over the last 72 hours, and there's obviously a push to still try and get the fight on up until the statement was read by Callis Howland and Eddie Hearn yesterday. What would it have, sorry, on Thursday rather, what would it have said and what image would it have left on the sport if the fight had gone ahead despite everything which had come out in the news?
But then people criticize promoters, but then you're trading spiritual, philosophical side about the human Eddie Hearn, Callis Howland, salesmen. They salesmen, they are promoters. Their responsibility is to deliver the fight, a big fight, publicize it as much as they can to the best of their ability. And when they face consequences like this and the circumstance, I call it a grave elephant's ass in front of you, like that, and you have to deal with it. I don't know how I would have behaved. No, I do know I would have said the fight is off, but that's because of me. And people saw me losing £80,000 once upon a time from British Boxing Board of Control because the security didn't turn up and the event didn't take place. And I had options, but I said it's off because I know what's happening as a consequence. Probably I felt that it was a kiss of karma. Maybe I was responsible for something previously, to be philosophical. So they just tried to sell the event. And they tried to, I mean, look, naturally it was a survival instinct for them. What can we do in order for the event to continue? Did they remember that it's a dangerous sport? No. They wouldn't remember. All they remembered is a broadcaster, their financial wealth, and Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., the contractual responsibilities. That's all they would think at the time. It takes a bigger man. It takes a strong, intelligent, humble person to say, guys, we're calling the event off. It's out of order. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with my own fighter. I had no idea it's happening. And because of that, I'm calling the event off or I'm postponing the event. Look, he would have been a super specimen if he would have announced on that manner. But knowing what boxing like, I wasn't surprised of the feverish behavior, the second-hand car dealing kind of thing. What can you do, brother? Tell me. It's hard to judge, so I don't want to judge no Eddie, no Kala. They try to do their best, and Eddie is forever will be a victim of his own verbal legacy, because every time he's got an event, he's trying to sell it so hard that he tried to be assertive. He tried to break it down for the proletariat. I'm talking simpletons around the game, so they fully understand what's going on, because sometimes when promoters talk, only us professional people understand what actually has been talked about. Normal people sometimes don't understand about catch weights, the procedures, the contractual stuff. So he's trying to be very assertive, very people appealing, and sometimes it backfires, because 2 years later, somehow you catch yourself on the opposite side of the trenches. And that's exactly what happened with him. That's why so many memes going around with him saying opposite things. Even Conor Benn, I was shocked. I saw the video of Conor Benn talking about Jarrell Miller. Did you see that one? It's unbelievable. I think it's on Mickey Elliott's Instagram. It's unbelievable. He said absolutely opposite to what he's done. Have a look. It's astonishing. That's what I'm saying. Karma is a bitch. Be careful, guys. I am very careful, because I've been a victim of karma myself many of times. But anyway, it's a shame that fight got cancelled, and I understand why Kala and Eddie are trying to save the fight, because dark side is always prevailing. If everyone would have been so in control of themselves and let their good be in their good nature, intelligent nature, humble nature to dominate the decision making, we would have been living in a different world, Andy.
Oh, of course, it's a developing story. We're still waiting for more information to come out from the teams, and of course, Conor, Eddie, Matchroom, Wasson, they all have their right to reply as we wait for more information from them. But just kind of to leave it on, Al, how do you expect the coming days, weeks, months around this situation to unfold? What do you expect to be the next steps to be taken?
I think, first of all, the mysterious B sample or whatever it is. Look, once you've got a finding in your analysis, in your sample, it's there. So guys need to come up with the punishment. If it's a 6 months ban, if it's a big financial penalty, whatever is, I think, more appropriate. I'm not an expert of punishments, and thanks God, never going to be. Don't punish, never going to be punished, they say, allegedly. So, I don't know if they try to reschedule the fight. Obviously, the fight is big, and this controversy probably subconsciously, psychologically triggering even bigger interest to general public than it was before. Do you know, funny thing, because I was there when Ben Shalom's and Boxers event got cancelled. When Queen Mother passed away. And I saw the way it been dealt in that circumstance. It was impeccable. We sat down, people talked about this, they stretched it to the vein because they wasn't sure. And I was thinking if that would have been Matchroom, the event definitely would have gone ahead. But the guys decided to leave to fight another day. And here we are next week. The event is here, and it's a bigger event than it was. Possibly Chris Eubank against Benn could take the similar route. And in regards to Conor's punishment, I don't know. I can't give you any suggestion because I don't really know. I like the guy. The kid is very good. He's an up-and-coming fighter, very talented, very ambitious, quite endearing as a guy. He's not a bad guy, you know. That guy, he's a humble guy. And I think he's been badly advised. Badly advised. You know what? I don't want to justify that, but on the darker side, once you got caught, it's all falling apart. If you're doing something like this, you need to make sure you're staying out of prison, because once you're in prison, you're a bad criminal.
Al, we will leave it there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your Saturday and your weekend. I appreciate you jumping on this morning, but thank you for speaking to me in ID Boxing.
Take care, brother. Keep going.